Hey everybody, welcome on our channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the son of chaos and got harem with gods? Part 2. If you are new on the channel, don't forget to subscribe our channel and like the video too. So without wasting any more time, let's start the story. Naruto has spent the last few days getting adjusted to the new chaos cabin that he now lived in. The cabin itself in his opinion was pretty cool. The outside was a metallic black color with stars that glinted at night. Above the cabin was a small-scale model of the universe above the roof of the cabin. Inside the cabin 3 of the walls are painted like the Milky Way galaxy and one wall is painted so it has the 9 Biju on it. The floor is made of glass and is enchanted so it's an endless void of stars. The ceiling is of the sky. There are 9 beds, each with a different number above it. There are hidden rooms under the cabin that has an environment that suits each of the 9 Biju. Finally there are 10 guest rooms that are plain waiting to be decorated. All in all, Naruto likes his new home, but it's lonely. He can guess that each bed is meant for the containers of the Biju or the human form of the Biju. Naruto plans on using seals to make the Biju environments endless so they can go full form when they want to. He just woke up from a disturbing dream. Naruto's dream. We see Naruto walking towards the Mizukage building when all of a sudden the building explodes and he sees Yugura in his Biju form, destroying Kiri and everyone in it. He tries and stops him but can't move. When he turns back towards the tower he sees a man in an orange mask with the Rinnegan ablazing looking at Yugura. He then turns towards Naruto and rushes him with a kunai. Right as he's about to hit him the dream shatters. End dream. The dream is weird but he can tell it's important. If it concerns his siblings then it's important. Which reminds him of how the campers reacted to him telling the truth of what he is and how he was treated at his home because of it to the campers. At first they were confused and didn't know how to react. After a while they accepted it and see him as himself. Naruto hears a knock at the door and answers it. He sees Dionysus standing. "Hello Lord Dionysus, how are you?" Naruto asks, putting sarcasm on the Lord part. He smirks, "I'm doing well boy, but you're wondering why I'm here. I'm here to tell you have been given a quest by your mother and the gods." Naruto eyes widen. "I can guess the one from my mother, but what's the one from the gods?" "The gods want you to help Andromeda get Zeus's master bolt back before the solstice. And your mother wants you to go to your world and save one of your siblings," Yugura Dionysus says. Naruto nods. "I know who he is. He is the 4th Mizukage. I suppose the rumors are true then." "What rumors if you don't mind me asking?" Naruto looks at him. "Well you see Dionysus Yugura is the current modulative Kurigakure, but for the past decade or so there has been a civil war. You see he started killing of anyone with a bloodline because he didn't want anyone to oppose him. People started to rebel against him, but some people, mostly his friends, say he'd never do the things he's done. They say he's controlled by someone, and I believe that too." Dionysus takes a thoughtful look. "Well normally you take 2 people on a quest with you, but if you don't want to that's up to you because it is much more dangerous. And plus you'll be joining Andromeda once you finish your quest. So you'd have to send them back then meet up with them. Either way choose is up to you." Naruto nods. "I'm sure the gods would want me to bring 2 people along to see my world I assume. But I'll do it for personal reasons so yes I'll bring 2 companions." Dionysus nods. "Very well, head to the oracle and receive your prophecy, then choose your companions." Big house attic. Naruto just climbed up the ladder to the attic and is taking everything in. There are trophies from monsters and adventures that demigods have been on all over the place. He sees a mummy-like creature sitting on a tripod stool by the window. As he approaches he hears it. "I am the oracle of Delphine. Approach seeker and ask." Naruto hears a snake-like voice in his head say as green mist surrounds the oracle. "What is my destiny?" Naruto asks. "You shall go to Kiri and help your family. You shall meet some friends along the way. Masked man, rise or fall by your hands. And though love and war away is found." 10 minutes later. Naruto is looking for his friends to bring with him. He thinks over the prophecy. He already has one line down and a good thing he was going to bring them along anyway too. He sees them by the docks by the lake. As he gets near they see him. "Hey Naruto, how are you doing?" Selena asks. "Good. I was going to ask you something," he says. "What is it?" they both ask. He smiles. "I was wondering if you'd like to help me on my quest." They widen their eyes. "You'd want my help?" Selena and Claris ask. He nods. "Of course I'd want your help, you guys are my friends." "What about Andromeda and Annabeth?" Clarice asks. "They have their own quest. Besides I'd like to learn more about you guys," he says with a smile. They both blush lightly at that. "We'll meet up in an hour. Oh, and we'll have to change how you wear clothes on this quest." "But why?" they ask. "Well you see we are going to where I'm from." They widen their eyes at that and it's basically like historical Japan. Selena calms down. "Well I always wanted a kimono, but why are we going?" Naruto smiles a little. Well, you see, one of my family members and is being controlled by a man that I will stop. They nod. When do we leave? Claris asks. In 2 hours. They nod. What would you like for your clothing? Can I have a blue kimono with white flowers? Selena asks. I'll just take whatever battle clothes you have when we leave, Clara says. He nods to them both and hands Claris black Anbu clothes. 1 hour 30 hours later. Naruto is walking up to Thalia's tree because he wants to inform her he won't be back for a while. As he enters the tree he sees Thalia waiting for him. He smiles. Hey Thalia, how's it going? She smiles. Nothing much. Naruto looks at her. Thalia, I won't be coming back for a while because I was issued a quest to go to my world to save my brother. She looks sad but nods. Alright, but promise you'll be back. He smiles. I promise. Now I should be on my way. Right as he's about to leave he feels a pair of hands wrap around him and a pair of lips on his. He's surprised but returns the kiss. When they stop kissing they separate. I know you have a girlfriend already, but I'm fine with sharing and I know she is too. He smiles. I'll see you soon, Fall-chan. She smiles at the nickname, not even noticing the feminine figure behind her. When he is out of the tree he has a smile on his face and his eyes closed. Not noticing the two figures approaching him. What's with the smile, Naruto? Selena asks. He smiles towards her. Just got done talking to Thalia. And when I was done she kissed me, he says. Their eyes widen, but already knowing he can talk to her because he told the men only the Manabith, Andromeda and Grover. Why'd she kiss you if you're already in a relationship? Selena almost yells, taking relationship seriously. He holds up his hands. Andrew-chan already knows this might have happened and she's fine with sharing whoever loves me too. That seems to have calmed Selena and Claris down, but he can see they're in deep thought. Well, we should get going. They nod and he tells his mom he's ready and feels the familiar towels in his stomach before his surroundings get replaced with a forest and the air smells cleaner. They take a second to admire the beauty of the place outside Kiri. Wow, this place is pretty and it's clean, Selena says. Claris nods in agreement. Well, seems like my mom wanted me to have help from one of my friends from here. They look at him. What do you mean, Naruto? He smiles at them. Oh, it's nothing that you won't see in a few minutes. They accept the answers. As they walk on a path that Naruto just follows. When asked why he says he's following the chakra. After a few minutes of walking they reach an opening in a cliffside. When they enter they are greeted by two figures. One is a man with black hair and black eyes and the other is a girl with mint green hair and orange eyes. He smiles while Selena and Claris are on guard. It's nice to see you again, Itachi-san, Fu-chan. Naruto looks at the two figures now known as Itachi and Fu. So Fu-chan and Itachi-san, do you know why I'm here? Naruto asks. Fu and Itachi nod. Yes, Naruto-kun. Your mother has told us, and to say Chimei wasn't surprised would be an understatement. He almost had a heart attack hearing you're her son, Fu says. Naruto smirks. Same here. I never expected to be the one related to them and the sage of six paths. She nods. So what's the plan and who are these guys? Naruto smiles. Well, these two are Selena, daughter of Aphrodite, and Claris, daughter of war. Selena, Claris, this is Fu. They smile and wave at each other. Nice to meet you. Naruto clasps his hands together. Alright, introductions done. Now the plane. Okay, I think I should send some clones to do recon and we attack at night when their defenses are low. We then sneak past the guards to the late tower. I'll go after Yugura while you guys hold off the guards. I will restrain him with my Mokuton. Then I will attempt to free Yugara of the masked man control with the help of Selena here. After that I will fight the masked man and try to kill or cripple him. They nod. Sounds like an okay plan, Clara says. After they are done with battle preparations they head out to rest up to fight. On his way back Naruto meets two people he knew he'd see again one day. He smiles. Good to see you again, Haku-chan and Zabuza-san, he says as they seep out of the wall. Flashback wave mission. Naruto looks up at the black-haired beauty to the side of him that he is currently helping pick herbs for Zabuza. So Haku, who are you picking these for? Naruto asks. Haku smiles. They are for my precious person so they can heal faster. Is that person Zabuza? He asks and sees she stiffness and reaches for a sermon. He holds his hands up. It's cool, I'm not going to hurt you. How can I trust you? He smiles because Haku-chan. Like you I don't fight without reason. And plus I have information that you and Zabuza will find useful, he says as he hands her a letter. Next day. Haku and Zabuza walk into the same clearing and they see Naruto leaning on a tree. So you considered my offer then, Naruto asks. They nod yes, but how will we go about the fight on the bridge? Zabuza asks. Naruto smirks. I'll make 2 blood clones and have them use a true henge on them and then put your personality into them. What's the difference between a blood clone and a water or shadow? Zabuza asks. Naruto smiles sadistically. Why don't I show you? He then creates a blood clone and then stabs it in the thigh, but it doesn't pop. Much to Zabuza's and Haku's surprise. No, instead the clone falls to a knee holding in a scream as he bleeds. Sadistic bastard, the clone mumbles before dispelling. So Naruto says, looking at them, do we have a deal? He asks, extending his hand. Zabuza smiles though his mask and reaches for his hand. Then flashback. Naruto smiles at them and sees they haven't changed. How have you been, Zabuza? Haku-chan. All smiles. We are doing good, Naruto-kun. Zabuza looks at him and you can see the edges of his mouth because of how big high smile is. We are doing fine, Gaki. And you'll be glad to hear you made your mark on the world. Naruto smiles. Whatever do you mean, Zabuza? Instead of answering, he hands him a small black book, page 289. Naruto opens the book to the page and sees his picture. Name: Naruto, heir to the 6 paths. Rank SS. Height: 4'10". Eye color: blue. Hair color: blonde. Shinobi rank: genin. Allegiance: none. Description: blonde genin more than meets the eye. Said to have the legendary Dojutsu, the Rinnegan. Defeated Orochimaru and the one-tailed sand raccoon. Said to wield all elements and is a master at their manipulation. Can summon toads and possibly other summoning animals. Mastered the Rasengan and completed it by adding his element to it. Run on sight, do not engage unless absolutely necessary. Naruto chuckles. They must have forced Kakashi and Jiraiya to tell them my true strength to get this. Zabuza and Haku chuckle with him. I believe so. Anyway, Naruto-kun, what has happened since you left? Naruto smiles. Well, why don't you see? He says as he takes out a piece of chakra paper. It instantly splits into 9 pieces. One becomes so wet it almost turns into water. Another crumbles into a very small ball the size of a pin tip. Another instantly puffs up into flames. Another turns into solid rock, while another turns into sand. Another turns into wood. Another turns into ice. The last two, one turns to light and the other darkness, then they converge into one, masking the yin-yang sign. They all seem surprised, even Naruto. Well, those 5 are new. What do you mean, Gaki? Zabuza asks while still comprehending what just happened. Well, I already knew the others, but ice, sand, yin, yang and yin-yang. So yay, more training my elements. They both nod dumbly. Hour before attack. Naruto standing up in a tree waiting to strike Kurigakure and save the Mizukage from his own fate. As he waited, he tells someone land next to him. Naruto smiles. You know, Itachi, I never thought I'd see the day you and I fight alongside each other. Itachi looks at him and smiles a little. Me either, but after your deal with me, how could I say no? Naruto smiles. Don't worry, we'll be gone of this world very soon and on to a more peaceful world. Nor one ridden with war and conflict. Or at least not one this kind of scale. So are you ready to stop this pointless civil war and bring peace to Kurigakure? Itachi asks. Naruto nods. Let's do this. But then, using his recently acquired yin element, he darkens the area to make it almost pitch black to the enemies, but clear to his allies. Naruto then jumps to the ground and takes Claris and Selena over the wall and into enemy territory. As they land, Naruto turns to them. Stay by me and you'll have a better chance to survive. They both nod, but are a little scared. They run for a while and see that the Mizukage tower is only 50 feet away. When all of a sudden 3 figures appear with swords drawn. The 2 weaker of the 3 attack Selena and Claris, while the tougher of the 3 attacks Naruto. So we get swordsman. Good, Naruto says. As his enemy charges him, he takes out his sword while Claris takes out her spear and Selena takes out her knives. Naruto ducks under the guy's swing with his sword and he gets up and stabs him in the heart, ending the battle quickly. He looks over at Claris and Selena and sees them on their knees, eyes wide, looking at their now dead, walks over to them. Are you guys okay? He says, putting a hand on either of their shoulders. They both shake their heads. He sighs. Is this your first kill? They nod. He nods. Just know that even though you killed someone, you did it to save others, and as long as you don't take pride in killing people, you'll be fine. After all, emotions are what makes us human. You can't stop those. They both relax and stand up slowly. Thanks, they both say. He smiles. Don't mention it. They then stand up and go to the Mizukage tower to complete their quest. When they get there, they silently knock out the guards without alerting the others. When they get to the Mizukage's office, they see him standing by the window looking out over his village and the various battles. So you're here? Well, it's time for you to die then. Ah, don't be like that, Yugura. After all, we brothers have to stick together. Plus, can't have you killing my brother Asobu now, can I? You'll have to fight me first. Yugura says. He stabs Naruto in the heart with a kunai and sees him cough up blood, but then something weird happens. He smirks and shakes his head. Works every time. He then poofs away as Yugura is wrapped up in wood that is suppressing his and his Bijuu chakra. I hope this works. Now, Selena. Naruto says. Yugura, we know you're in there. Don't let him control you, break free. Selena says. No. I'm not under control. This is what I want. No, it isn't. What kind of leader would get rid of his own army? This isn't you and you know it. Claris and Selena say at the same time with as much emotion as possible. Igura blinks slowly, then blinks again. Did that really happen? Naruto sighs then smiles. There's no time to explain. Now I have a deal with you. We have to make everyone believe you're dead, so we have to create an explosion. Now after that you have a choose. You can come with me to a new world and start over, or wander around the elemental nations trying to hide from people who will kill people like us. Igura thinks for a moment then extends his hand to him. I think I've done enough damage to this world enough, and I like the prospect of a new life. Naruto smiles good now hold on because this is going to be a blast. As he says that he places a seal which will explode the whole tower. Then teleported using a Harem gets away to a safe distance. Next day. Naruto is glaring across the field towards the masked individual that caused this whole mess in the first place. He looks at him with utter hatred. You got anything to say to me? Naruto says. Well, he says that he makes a sealess blood clone and switches places with it up in the trees. He slowly makes his way behind the masked man. You're becoming a nuisance and I'll kill you myself. Nine-tails fox be damned weaken weighty lunges towards Naruto successfully staving him with a black rod. Naruto coughs up blood and acts surprised by his speed. Just as Naruto is falling to the ground the masked man feels a seal be placed on his back and he can't move. What? He asks. Naruto chuckles as his clone disappears. As you see, you fell for the same trick as Igura. You can't always rely on things to go your way. Now look at you paralyzed and every drop of chakra slowly being taken away from you. Killing you will only buy us a few years, but it is worth it. See you Hades, he says, not hearing his screams and curses because he shined away. Naruto's meeting place. He walks up and sees all his friends waiting for him. Well, Zabuza, I see you decided to come with us. Zabuza nods. Well, I think it's time for a change, and what better place? Naruto nods. Well, I think it's time to go, don't you think? They nod. Well, Mom, can you bring my ninja friends to my apartment and give them books on the laws there and bring Selena and Claris here to camp? And bring me to Grover, Annabeth and Andromeda, please. As he says that, they all begin to flicker away, but then Haku and Fu come over and kiss him on the cheeks and the three disappear with a smile on their faces. As Naruto begins to see his surroundings, he realizes he's at a train station. When he regains his bearings, he sees a train stop at the platform. When the doors open, he sees Grover, Annabeth and Andromeda step out of the train and head towards what he assumed to be the Golden Gate Bridge. When he sees them walk towards it, he decides to prank them. Casting his personal jutsu one with the shadows, he turns invisible. As they walk towards the bridge, he casts a gain jutsu on them. Around them they don't see anyone, but they hear children laughing and a fog hangs by their feet. When they made it to the bridge, he senses a monster but can't tell where, so he channels chakra to his feet and walks up the bridge, still invisible. When he gets to the observation deck, he waits for them. After they got there, they stayed for a while until they got an announcement that says they will be closing in 10 minutes. That is when he sensed her. Echidna, the bane of heroes. He also sees her lapdog Chimera. He decides to wait to reveal himself. When he sees that it was just him, his friends and Echidna and Chimera, he makes a shadow clone and has it go behind her and Chimera. As soon as the family and the guard in the elevator go down, the Chimera begins to snarl and bark at them. Okay Sonny, now is the time, Echidna says. Just then the Chimera dog form turns into its full-blown Chimera form, scaring Grover, Annabeth and Andromeda. What shocks them more is the fact that a golden cloaked figure appears in front of them. Naruto? Andromeda asks. Echidna's eyes harden. You? Naruto grins. That's right, and I'm back and better than ever. Echidna points at him. You I will kill slowly. Naruto's smirk grows bigger. Here's a tip. A true ninja sticks to the shadows, he says cryptically. When they see the confused look on her face turn to shock, they look down to see a sword sticking through her stomach and a kunai sticking out of Chimera's skull. Well, that was boring, Naruto says, making them sweat drop. Naruto? They all say in relief and happiness. He smiles. Yo. Why are you here, and better yet, where did you go? Andromeda asks. He smiles. Just went to save a fellow brother and brought some friends from my homeworld. You went to your world and you didn't bring us, Andromeda yells. Naruto rubs the back of his head. Sorry, but you had your own quest to do. They nod, seeing his reasoning. Now we should go. Now the cameras probably alerted the police, he whispers. They all panic and start towards the train. 5 hours later. We should tell Chiron what happened, Annabeth says. Naruto nods in agreement. Yeah, I haven't even told him about my quest yet, but Claris and Selena probably did by now. Andromeda pouts. I still can't believe you brought them and not me. Naruto chuckles as they make their way towards a car wash. 5 minutes later, a frustrating change finding. The image begins to shimmer and they see a familiar blonde. How you going there, Luke? Naruto asks his fellow blonde. Oh hey guys, how's it going? And good, Naruto. Naruto smiles. We're doing fine, Luke. Luke grins. By the way, congratulations on your quest. We will have to have a celebration if you make it back. Haha, I see the confidence you have in us. They hear a cough. Hello, we're still here, an annoyed Annabeth says. Naruto and Luke rub the back of their heads. Sorry. Just then a Lincoln pulls into the stall next to them with its music blaring. Luke covers his ears. What's that noise? He asks. Naruto curses. I'll take care of it, he says. He leaves and Annabeth follows him. He looks at her. You want to mess with him a little? She looks at him. What do you have planned? He grins at her. Just watch. They get to the stall and they see a tall guy next to the Lincoln. Naruto grins sadistically. He uses his powers over ice and sand to cool the air enough to see their breath, and then he uses the sand to change the station to a Christmas song. He then uses a game jutsu to have some snowmen and Santa Claus attack him. He looks at them and screams like a little girl and then gets in his car and drives away. Naruto grins. That is why I'm the prank king. Annabeth logs at that. Connor and Travis have nothing on you. He grins, and as they begin to walk back he too begins to laugh and he puts an arm around her as they make their way back. As they approach, Grover sees them laughing. Why did you guys do? Naruto grins. We just meet a guy who is now afraid of Christmas and snow. Grover and Andromeda pale. And it was hilarious. Annabeth says while laughing. Naruto smiles. Glad to see someone takes my jokes as jokes. What now? Andromeda asks. Well, let's go eat. Naruto says enthusiastically, heading towards a dinner. Naruto and his friends are currently sitting in a booth at the diner that he walked towards just minutes ago. Do you even have any money to pay for that? The waitress asks. Naruto eye twitches. Just then a roar of an engine stops all conversations. When the bike stops we see the figure walking towards the diner. When he enters he looks around and snaps his fingers. Everyone returns to their normal conversation. Do you have any money to pay for that? She asks again. It's on me, the biker says as she begins to walk away. Naruto looks at him. He can feel the small amount of hate and rage rolling of the guy, but he's used to it so it doesn't affect him, but it affects the others. Ares. He thinks. Naruto smirks. Pleased to meet you, Lord Ares, Naruto says in a cheerful voice. Annabeth and Grover look at him like he's insane. While Ares just raises an eyebrow. You're not affected by this, kid. Must say you earned a little respect from me, Ares says, surprising his friends. Naruto smiles. Thanks, Lord Ares. Ares smirks. Anyways, you are probably wondering why I'm here, right? They nod. I have a little errand for you guys and gal to run for me. Naruto raises an eyebrow. Depends what it is. Ares smirks. I just need you to get something that I left behind while I was with my lady. By the way, she seems to have taken an interest in you, so watch out. Naruto thinks it over. Well, do it, but can you get us a ride west so we can make up for lost time? Ares grins. Sure thing, kid, just get me my shield and we'll be good. Naruto smiles towards Ares. Sure thing, Lord Ares. By the way, have you heard about my world or about me yet? Ares shakes his head. Why would it matter? Naruto grins. I have a feeling you'd like my world and I'd like to ask for a spare later if you don't mind. Ares grins madly. Your funeral, by the way, my shield is at a nearby water park, he says as he gets up and leaves. Naruto friends look at Hai. Like he's crazy. What? He asks. Are you insane? You basically challenge the god of war. Not only that, but you act like it's no big deal, Annabeth says. Naruto shrugs. Just who I am. They all face a fault at his words. And what's with you not even being affected by his aura? Naruto gets a faraway look in his eyes filled with sadness. When you had a childhood like mine, it's not that hard, he responds. Andromeda and Grover cringe at that and Annabeth looks confused. Before she says anything though, Grover puts a hand on her shoulder and shakes his head. Naruto gets out of his depressed mood and smiles. Well, come on, we haven't stand to run. Water park. They approach what looks to be an abandoned water park. The letters are faded, so they read WATND. The rides are peeling and wrecked. Well, this place seems joyfully, Naruto says. The others deadpan at his actions except Andromeda, who smiles. That may be, but how do we get in? She jokingly asks. Naruto looks at her. We have swords, don't we? She nods and they take out their swords and cut through the gate. Annabeth looks at them. Better than what I thought, surprisingly. Naruto raises an eyebrow. What did you think we should have done? Annabeth slumps her shoulders. I would have climbed it and Grover would have flown over it. Naruto smiles. Well, I can sense the shield and something else. He stops suddenly and begins to laugh. What is it, Naruto? They all ask. Naruto grins. Let's just say Ares brought company here when he went. Andromeda and Grover, used to his cryptic meanings and things by now, know what he means and laugh with him. What? Asks Annabeth, still not getting it. They grin. Ares brought his girlfriend here. Annabeth eyes widen but then laughs the rest of the way to the shield. Naruto raises an eyebrow at where the shield is, then he sees the name, then the mirrored walls. Oh, I see, he whispers so no one hears him. My type of place. He claims as he jumps down and slides along the wall. He looks back and sees Andromeda and Annabeth follow him. He raises an eyebrow. I understand Andra-chan, but would you come down here, Annabeth? He says with a grin. Both girls blush at his statement question. He decides that it was enough teasing and reaches for the scarf first. When he smells it, he smells a smell that a normal person would probably smother themselves in. He pauses and shrugs as he thought it to Andromeda. Annabeth looks at him, impressed that he resisted the love magic on the thing. He then reaches for the shield but stops. What's wrong? Annabeth asks. There's a trap, he says. Her eyes widen. How can you tell? He shrugs. I'm a ninja, remember. Now be prepared. They nod as he reaches for the shield. As soon as he reaches the shield, the fluid statues turn towards each other and shoot of a golden net. But Naruto creates 3 blood clones and switches places with them to take the attention. Well, that was nice. Time to get back to Ares. Never thought I'd see someone happy to see Ares. Annabeth. As Naruto and his friends approach the diner, they see Ares leaning against his bike with a backpack. Yo Ares. Why did you not tell us about the trap? We still would have done it. Ares grins. Where's the fun in that? By the way, nice vanishing act. Naruto grins. Why thank you. I'm not the king of pranks for nothing, he says as he hands over the shield. Anyway, here, thought you might need this. And there's your ride, Ares says, pointing to a truck. Well, good luck with corpse breath. You'll need it, he says as he rides off. Naruto and his friends approach the truck that says Kindness International Zoo Transfer. They enter the back, and when they enter they see a lion, a zebra and a yak. They are in their cages with the wrong types of food and they smell. Grover looks furious. This is kindness. Grover basically screams. No kidding, Naruto says. They all feel like beating up the rivers, but when they're about to go out, the truck roars to life. And they're off. A few hours later, after Naruto used wind chakra to cut out the gum in the zebra's mane. The zebra speaks to him, surprising him. Thank you, the zebra says. Naruto raises an eyebrow at that, but shrugs. No problem. Need anything else? He says, surprising Grover and Andromeda. The zebra shakes his head no. Naruto nods his head and sits down. After a while, Annabeth speaks up. So what did Luke say to you? Nothing much. Just told us how camp is doing and told Grover things wouldn't turn out like last time. Grover's stiffness, and Andromeda speaks up. What did happen though, Grover? Grover sighs. I guess you should know. You see, some years ago I was assigned to bring Thalia to Camp Half-Blood. Well, my orders were just her, not Luke and Annabeth. But she insisted she wouldn't go if they didn't. Along the way we made a few wrong turns, and that caused some monsters to catch up to us. We made it to the top of the hill. That's when the monsters caught up. Much like Naruto, she stayed behind to fend them off. She fought her best, but she fell. As she was dying, Zeus turned her into a tree. I blame myself for what happened. I could have stayed back and helped her, Grover says, crying. Naruto sighs. This was going to happen at some point, Grover. Don't blame yourself, she doesn't blame you for it. Grover, Annabeth and Andromeda look at him confusingly. What do you mean, Naruto? Grover asks. Naruto sighs. Well, you remember when Chiron wanted to talk to me alone, right? Grover nods. Well, he wanted to see if I could talk to Thalia. As it turned out, I could. And we talked monoculture ever since. Grover looks happy and relieved. She's fine, but Annabeth's eye twitches. And you forgot to tell us. She says. Naruto gulps. Chiron told me not to if I could help it. Annabeth nods. Now if you excuse me, I need to get some sleep. He decides to sleep against a wall, falling asleep seconds before Grover. Naruto's dream. Naruto falls asleep into a dream that he is back in Thalia's tree with her. Thalia? Naruto asks, shocked. Thalia smiles. Naruto. She says as she walks up to him and kisses him. Do you know how I'm here? He asks. She nods. Your mother came and said she could make a permanent connection where we can talk whenever we want. Naruto smiles. Well, that's good. I'm guessing you want to hear about the quest. She nods. So he begins to tell her everything up until the point where he fell asleep on the truck. She looks at him angrily. You challenged Ares to a spar. Are you insane? He pouts only a little, he jokes. She smiles. Just be careful and kick some monsters out there. He smiles. Sure thing, Thalia-chan. He begins to disappear, but before he does she sees the blush on Thalia's face. Then dream. Naruto wakes up to see everyone rushing to hide. When he was about to question why, he sees the truck door open. He grins as he casts a gain jutsu on the drivers, so as soon as the doors open, fire animals launch out and chase them down the street. After that they release the animals, and Grover puts a blessing on them, and they walk the streets of Vegas. Vegas always wanted to come here, Naruto says. Andromeda and Grover grin while Annabeth looks at him. Why is that, Naruto? She asks. Naruto grins. I am as lucky as you can get at cards or any gambling in general. She nods, seeing his point. As they turn a corner, they see entrance to a hotel at the end of an alleyway. Lotus Hotel and Casino. For some reason they walk towards it. They are greeted by a bellop. Hello there. Here is your hotel suite keycards and casino cards. But we didn't. He waves his hands. No, it's prepaid for you. Hope you have fun. They look at each other but shrug. It's been a few days since they all slept in a bed. Whenever they get to their rooms, Naruto says he'll meet up with them later. They nod and soon after Grover leaves too. With Annabeth and Andromeda. Annabeth. You like Naruto, don't you? Annabeth blushes. I don't know what you talking about. Andromeda smiles. Annabeth, you can't hide it from me. Annabeth just blushes more. Why would it matter anyway? He's taken. Andromeda grins. But you see where he comes from. It's okay to have multiple wives or girlfriends, and I'm fine with sharing. Plus he told me he had some back at his home waiting for him. Plus it was hard to tell, but I know he's with Thalia too. Annabeth eyes widen. You make it sound easy to confess my feelings. Andromeda smiles. Well, I did. Annabeth sighs. Okay, I will sometime this quest. Andromeda smiles. Good, now let's go have some fun, she says, holding up a hotel debit card. With Grover. Grover turns around and shoots a redneck. Die human. Filthy, polluting, littering human. Die. With Naruto. Naruto looks around the casino until he spots a blackjack table and sits down. The dealer looks at him questionably, but then shrugs. 5 hours later. After winning $10 million and a waterfall of tears from the dealer and gobsmacked expressions from everyone around him and a trip to the owner. He was kicked out of the casino. Naruto pouts. Poor sports. When he exits, he passes a mythmagic table and stops. He sees 2 girls around his age. One standing behind the one playing and the other playing. One sees him staring and waves. He decides to walk over to them. Hi, my name is Naruto. They smile at him. Hi, my name is Bianca. And this is my twin Nika. He smiles. Nice to meet you both. So what are you doing here? Nova asks. Naruto pouts. I was here to have fun, but I are kicked out for the year because I apparently cheated at cards at the casino. Nova and Bianca raise an eyebrow. Well, how much did you win? Only $10 million. Nika and Bianca gape at him. Well, I should be on my way, but you two stick together. Family should always stick together no matter what, he says, getting a faraway look in his eyes, depressing the two a little and also making them sad. 1 hour later. We find our heroes in a taxi heading towards Santa Monica because Andromeda had a dream that told Het to. Dang, you guys didn't want to leave, Naruto said teasingly. They blush. It's not our fault. We didn't know it was a trap. Yeah, I know. Still was a cool place though. They nod. I shot rednecks, Grover said. I built cities, Annabeth says. I meet some people, Andromeda says. I won $10 million. Everyone looks at him like he's an alien. What? He asks. Grover shakes his head. Dude, you seriously brought out the true meaning of the phrase of luck of the gods. Everyone nods at that, seeing the truth in it. So you really are almost to the underworld, huh, Naruto, says Thalia with their mental link. Naruto smiles. I guess so, huh? Naruto continues to walk towards the beach with his friends. When they get there, they stop. What now, Annabeth asks. Andromeda says nothing and walks towards the ocean. Annabeth was about to say something but is stoked by Naruto. 3 hours later. Andromeda's POV. When I resurface, I expected a lot of things. What I didn't expect is to see a crowd watching Naruto fight out on the ocean. He is doing mostly hand-to-hand combat. But sometimes he throws in a jutsu. When I get to the shore, he ends the fight by punching the blood clone in the neck, hitting his windpipe, causing him to suffocate and sink below the waves. The crowd cheers for the good fight and give Annabeth and Grover money for it. I raise an eyebrow. Annabeth grins at me. Awesome idea, right? I shake my head in mock disappointment. Yes. Regular POV. After they meet up, they learn that Andromeda got 4 pearls from a lady her dad sent. After some debate, they start to look for the duo recording studio. Along the way, they walk down one of the less expensive districts and run into someone. Hey you, someone said. Like idiots, they stoked. In an instant they were surrounded. Give us your money and no one will get hurt, the leader says. Naruto slowly looks up at him and his friends. It's a good thing my friends aren't here, Naruto says. They look at him and see him grinning. All of a sudden his friends disappeared. What the hell? One thug said. They were gone the entire time, he says as he knocked them all out. He continues to walk when he hears a scream coming from a shop. When he enters, he sees a tall guy and 2 girls on a waterbed being stretched. He sighs and sneaks up behind him and then stabs him in the heart. He then explodes in yellow dust. He then goes over to the 2 girls and cuts off their binds. You two okay? He asks. They nod and then look at him as if they seen him before. Then it hits them. You're Naruto. Naruto looks at them surprised. They're hunters, Thalia says with a growl. How do you know me? They look at him. Well, Lady Artemis had us watch the capture the flag game and Zokinda freaked out at seeing you alive, the one on the left says. Naruto smiles. Can you tell her I said hi? They nod. Thanks. I know you can probably get back yourself, but do you need help? No, but thanks for the offer. He nods before he goes. He looks in the back and finds the Doa dress and some drachmas. He then leaves to find his friends and go on the highway to heal. 1 hour later. So this is it? Andromeda asks. Naruto nods. Well, let's go. Naruto says in a cheerful voice. They enter and see a man with a name tag that says Charon. Good evening, Mr. Charon, Naruto says. He looks up. What are you here for? He asks. We're dead. He raises an eyebrow. How so? We drowned in a bathtub. Andromeda Bluesy. He raises an eyebrow. All of you? Grover, Andromeda and Annabeth nod while Naruto shakes his head. Charon looks at him. So how'd you die then? Well, on my way here a black cat crossed my path, so I decided to take the long way around. Along I saw an old lady who needed help getting across the street. Being the gentleman I am, I decided to help. While we were crossing, I was thinking over my life and seeing how lost I was, and not seeing a truck coming, I got hit by it. Andromeda and Grover sweat drop. And Annabeth and Charon look at him like he's crazy. Well, now I've seen it all, Charon says. So can we pass? Naruto asks. He shakes his head. I know you're alive. I can smell it. Join the club, Naruto grumbles. Charon raises an eyebrow. Unless you pay you cannot cross. Naruto sighs and hands him the whole pouch of reaching he got from Krusty's. Charon smiles. Right this way. When they get to the elevator, Naruto sees his necklace is glowing and then fades. Signaling he's about to go back in time again. Yes, I'm going back again soon, you guys. They nod knowing about his predicament, but this time he gets a memory of the past. All he can say is almost all his respect for the Lord of the Sky is gone. He killed a woman trying to kill her and Hades' children Nika and Bianca. He'd kill a whole building worth of people just to have control of a prophecy. Then it hits him. Andromeda, what was the prophecy? Naruto asks. Andromeda looks at him, but then shrugs. You shall go west and face the god who has turned. You shall find what was stolen and see it safely return. You shall be betrayed by one who calls you a friend. And though chaos on death heals a broken heart. Naruto thinks for a moment. I know what most of those lines mean, but they must be kept to myself for now. When the time comes, just trust me, okay? They nod, though a little worried. Charon grins. Well, here we are. Naruto nods. Thank you. Charon looks at him surprised, but then grins. You know, never had someone thank me for a ride to the underworld. Naruto shrugs. I'm not like everyone else. Just watch out for Three-Face. Naruto freezes. He's here. Cerberus. He asks, happiness and hope in his voice. Charon and everyone else looks at him like he's insane. Yeah. Why, you ask? Naruto grins. I made friends in him and some of his brothers long ago when I fought his brothers and sisters. Charon freezes. His friends look at him funny. You're him? Charon asks. Naruto nods. Well, good thing there's one demigod out there that doesn't see all us monsters as trash, Charon says. Naruto shrugs. Monsters aren't monsters until proven monster. Even then you can still befriend them. Charon nods as he sees one demigod that will bring great change in this world and bring to light that not all monsters are bad. Well, can't wait to see you again, Naruto says. They begin to walk away, not seeing one of the rare true smiles on Charon's face. Naruto looks ahead and begins to see Cerberus. Well, I believe a reunion is well past due. Naruto was getting anxious. Why, you ask? Well, because he's about to meet one of his first monster friends from long ago. I hope he doesn't kill us. As they approach, they see 3 lines. One labeled judgment and the other as death. They choose as death because it's quicker. When they start getting closer, they see him. He's exactly how he remembers him, maybe a little bigger. His 3-head glore. As they approach, Cerberus growls. You have 10 seconds to pray to whatever god you choose, mortals. They freeze all for different reasons. Grover is about to say something, but he's cut off by Naruto. Now Cerberus, that's no way to greet a friend now. Is it? He says, shocking them all, including Cerberus. Who are you? Cerberus asks. Naruto smiles and that freaks out his friends. I'm hurt, Cerberus, you don't recognize me? It's me, Naruto. Cerberus freezes. Is it really you? The only person to ever see me as a friend and not a monster? He asks hopefully. Naruto smiles. Yeah, that's me, buddy, and this time I'm not leaving. I'm not one to leave my friends a second time. Cerberus gets down on its stomach and Naruto approaches him. His friends freak out when he reaches for his face. To their utter surprise, the 3-headed dog lets him pet him. Don't worry, Cerberus, I'm not leaving you alone. Cerberus looks at him. I'll make a blood clone that can stay here and put a chakra recharge seal on it so it can stay here with you. Cerberus nods as he makes the clone. I'll miss you, Cerberus, but at least I can leave you a friend. And I thank you for that, Naruto. You are the first friend I ever had. Naruto smiles. It's what friends at for, he says as he walks away. Soon enough, after a quick detour set up by Grover's flying shoes, they made it to Hades' palace. As they walk in, they see skeleton guards guarding the entrance. Must not have problems with door-to-door salesman, Naruto says. They laugh lightly. As they approach the throne, Naruto kneels. "Greetings, Lord Hades." The others, after a brief moment of hesitation, join him. Hades raises an eyebrow. "Care to tell me why you kneel to me, young half-blood?" Naruto smiles. "Sure. I believe that all gods deserve respect. You haven't done anything to me yet, so we're good." Hades, for the first time in a long time, is shocked by a demigod. "Next, I guess you'll say minor gods are important." Naruto scoffs. "I don't see them as minor. I see them as gods and the major ones as Olympians. Because when they see minor, I see an important part in the universe that they're keeping up." In all his immortal life, Hades has never met a hero like this. It's too good to be true. "So why are you here?" Hades asks. "Well, after I finished my quest, I joined them on theirs. Now I can see underneath the underneath." "And no, you didn't. In fact, might I say the opposite?" Naruto asks. Hades looks shocked. "I can tell you want a war with the gods. From what I saw, you have enough subjects and it getting bigger by the day." "No, I believe you are viewing framed." Hades, after getting over his shock, says that doesn't change a thing. "I know she came here to bargain for her," he says, pointing to a sphere with Andromeda's mom in it. Andromeda is excited to see her mom again, but doesn't know how to save her. Then she thinks about the pearls. "Yes, demigod, the pearls." She takes out the pearls. "Only 4. Then one of you will have to stay." "It was a trick," Annabeth says. "You guys go, I'll stay behind," Grover says. "No way, goat boy. If anyone is staying, it's me," Annabeth says, taking out a knife. "No. Satyr are different from humans. We don't have souls like you." "Enough," Naruto yells, making them jump. He puts a hand on Andromeda's shoulder, secretly putting a Harem marker on her. "Do you trust me? I'll be back," he asks. Andromeda slowly nods her head. "Then use it on your mother." Everyone looks at him in shock. Andromeda can do nothing but shake her head. "Andra-chan, I'll be fine. All I want to do is talk with him. You know that I find a way to get out of these situations." Andromeda nods her head, tearing up a little. She then kisses him. When we operate, she's still crying. "Please come back." Naruto smiles. "I will. And that's a promise of a lifetime." She smiles a little at him. Then she, along with Grover and Annabeth, who have been silent over shock, step on their pearls. They then disappear along with her mother. Naruto sighs. "So what did you want to talk about, young half-blood?" "I just wanted to ask you if you miss her." Hades freezes. "Miss who?" he asks calmly. Naruto looks at him. "You know who, Hades?" "Watch it, half-blood." Hades: "I can leave right now if I wanted to, so just answer the question." Hades sighs. "Yes. Yes, I do." Naruto smiles. "Good, that's all I needed to hear. No, I want to make a deal." Hades raises an eyebrow. "What kind of deal?" Naruto takes out a necklace. "This necklace has a special power to let me travel back in time to events my mother will let me. I can go back and save her if you let me." Hades eyes Naruto. "There's no lie in that statement, is there, demigod?" Naruto shakes his head. "I'm serious, Hades. If you want her back, then just agree to my deal." "What deal?" "My deal is simple. My eyes allow me to revive people. All I want is your permission to let me use them. And yes, I promise not to overuse them. And only use them when necessary." Hades thinks for a second. "Alright. I can allow it, but you could have done it already since it's past my jurisdiction." Naruto nods. "I already knew that. It's just always nice to ask." Hades nods. "Well, Hades, I'll be gone for a few minutes, so just be patient, okay? Oh, and before I forget, don't kill my clone with Cerberus," he says as he disappears, leaving a shocked Hades at his statement. 30-something years ago. Naruto travels back in time to the point where Maria goes into her room to get her bags. This is where Naruto is transported through time. He appears in her room as soon as she enters. She sees him and is about to scream her. He holds up his hands. "Do you trust me?" the blonde asks. She looks at him. "What do you?" "There's no time." "Do you trust me?" he asks again. She thinks for a second and then nods. He creates a blood clone to look like her and stretches out his hand. She hesitantly takes it. She then feels dizzy after being teleported a mile away from the building. "Okay, what's going on?" Maria asks. He sighs. "Okay, now that we're away, I can tell you." Zeus is. Boom. Her eyes go wide. "Don't worry, your children are safe." Now, as I was saying, Zeus is afraid he won't be able to control the prophecy, so he attacked them. He will try to get them any way he can. Because of that, he will go after you. To prevent this, I saved you. Now, before you ask, I am from the future. I came here to save you. Don't worry, your children are safe. They are in my time, in a hotel and casino in my time. Now will you come with me? Before I say yes. Why did you save me? Naruto smiles. "All gods deserve happiness. Hades included. And I know what it's like to grow up without love. Bianca and Nova will need you later." She nods. "Then I will come with you." He smiles and takes her shoulder. Back to present. They time travel back to the throne room of Hades and sees he's still sitting where he left him. He stands up slowly and looks at Maria. "Maria, is that you?" Hades asks, his voice cracking a little. Maria smiles. "Yes, my love, it's me." Hades walks down to her and kisses her and hugs her. Naruto smiles. "Glad to help you, Lord Hades, but I should be on my way. I have a feeling you'll get what was stolen from you in a while." Naruto says, bowing and teleporting away in a flash of yellow. "He is one demigod in eternity," Maria. Hades says. Maria smiles. "I know." The beach. Andromeda was about to call Ares to a fight when all of a sudden a yellow flash appears. "Well, Ares, seems like we'll have a spar earlier than expected. But this time with higher stakes," the figure says. As the flash dies down, they see a familiar cloak and blonde hair. "Naruto." They yell in relief. Naruto smiles, alive and in the flesh. Naruto looks over at Ares as a pour goes off on Andromeda's shoulder. "So it was you. Well, at least we get our spar," Naruto says. Ares smirks, "Seems so brat." Naruto smiles and unsealed a celestial bronze camera and hands it to Annabeth. She looks at him. That camera has a seal on it that lets it be connected to any TV at any distance. "Just set it on CH." She nods and does what he says. "Let's hope they have a meeting right now." "Wait, Naruto, I know you're good, but Ares is a god." Naruto smiles. "I'll be fine. This is a situation I trained for." Annabeth and Andromeda bite their lip and Grover and Sally look nervous. "At least take this," she says as she hands him her camp necklace and puts it on him. "The campers are behind you, Naruto." Naruto smiles and nods at her. "Here," Grover says, handing him a crushed tin can. "The satyr are with you in spirit." He nods. Then Andromeda heads towards him and kisses him. "You better come back," she says. Naruto smiles. "You know I will." After that he heads towards Ares. "You done yet?" Ares asks. Naruto shrugs. "I guess so." Ares smirks. "Classic or modern?" Naruto shrugs. "Whichever you want." He then smiles sadistically. "Or both if you wish." Ares smiles. "Sinister, whatever you say, kid." As he says that, in one hand he gets a one-handed sword about 2 feet long and in the other he gets a revolver. They smile sadistically at each other. "Now Ares, even though you're the one that wanted a war amongst the gods, let me give you some advice and a handicap. I won't make any clones and you don't underestimate me." Ares smirks. "Now why did you make a deal like that?" Naruto smirks because he disappears before he finishes. When he reappears, Ares is blocking his sword with difficulty. "I want a fight that will be fun." Ares goes and aims his gun at him and shoots. Only to hit sand instead. Ares' eyes widen as he looks around. He then senses him behind him. He then puts his arm behind his back to block the attack. He then twirls around and tries to slash downward at him. Naruto sidestepped to the right and made a cut on Ares' bicep. "Well, I'll be. You actually cut me. Too bad it's just a shallow cut," Ares says. Naruto smirks. "Oh, but Ares, I already won." Ares raises an eyebrow. "And why do you say that?" Naruto grins. "Because this is no ordinary sword. This sword has a very potent poison on it. It may not kill you, but you'll be in extreme pain. And the more this battle drags on, the worse it gets." Ares is shocked. Such a weapon to be able to cripple a god for a short time. "Damn, Naruto. You didn't tell me that," Thalias says. Naruto smirks. "But Ares, I don't want to hurt you too badly. Otherwise some of my friends won't like me that much anymore." "But Andromeda and friends?" "Did I hear him right?" Grover asks. They nod. "To have such a weapon is a story to tell," Sally says. Andromeda smiles. "Well, he is unpredictable." They all nod in agreement. "Vamp half-blood. Unbelievable. He's standing his own against Ares," Luke says. Chiron nods. "Yes, but can't you feel it?" Everyone looks at him. "What do you mean, Chiron?" Clarice asks. Chiron smiles. "He's holding back. Considerably at that. It's like he said. He doesn't want to hurt him too badly. Yet I can feel this isn't Ares. What he's doing doesn't make sense." They all nod at him. Hunter's camp. What everyone didn't know is Chaos sent a Iris message to Zoe and the Hunt to show them his progress. To say they were shocked would be an understatement. He was holding his own against a god. That is a feat hard to come by. "I will admit, Zoe, he's an interesting one of the hunters say. They nod in agreement. Zoe nods yes, but something feels off. Phoebe looks at her. "What do you mean, Zoe?" "I mean, look at him. The way he fights is calculated. He doesn't waste movement. Plus he hasn't even used his powers yet." The hunters look at her. "And what powers are those?" Artemis asks. "Well, when he told me. He could use the elements fire, water, wind, earth, wood and lightning. And who knows how much he improved since last time I meet him." They nod and turn back to the battle. Back to battle after cops tried to interfere. "Damn, Ares. Did you really have to blow them up?" Naruto asks. Ares smiles sadistically. "Yes, kid, I did," he says as he tries to slash at Naruto. Naruto easily sidesteps it and stabs him in the arm. Ares lets out a howl that sends an earthquake through the city. Give up Ares, I don't want to hurt you again, Naruto says. Ares begins to walk forward clutching his arm when the sand wraps around his feet and begin to cover his chest. I'll say it one more time, Ares. Give up and we can have a rematch later on equal grounds. Ares growls, but then stops as a dark presence lifts up upon the area. Ares blinks. And his eyes focus. Fine. Thanks for the spar and I look forward to our rematch. And as wagered, here's the helm, he says as he raises the helm. He then begins to glow. Naruto and his friends look away to make sure they don't vaporize. Just as he does that, the camera and iris message disappear. Naruto turns to his friends. Well, that was fun, he says. Fun, that was awesome. Grover exclaims. Andromeda walks up to him and hugs him. You idiot, do you know how worried I was? She says. Naruto smiles. Hey, I'm fine, right? Andromeda shakes her head then looks at the cops. What about them? She asks. Naruto grins. I'll leave blood clones to take our place and I'll transport us to my apartment in the city. They all nod, seeing the reason. They had to get there by tonight. If they didn't, then a war so would start. Well, let's go, Naruto says after he creates some clones and hedges them. They nod as they group up and disappear in a yellow flash to his apartment. Naruto, Annabeth, nice apartment, man, Grover says. Naruto smiles. Thanks. I plan on moving out in a year or two and making my own house. Grover nods. They then sit down on the couch that is in the living room. Naruto holds up a finger. 1 sec. Let me get some friends I brought home from my quest. They nod as he goes into a spare room. A few minutes later he comes out with 4 more people. 2 are guys and 2 are girls. The people he brought sit on the couch opposite of them, while Naruto sits in one of the chairs. Well, I believe introductions are in order, Naruto says. They all nod. Well, this, he gestures towards Andromeda, is Andromeda-chan. Next to her is her mother Sally. To her right is Grover. And on the other end is Annabeth. Weird friends you have, Gaki's Zabuza says. Naruto raises an eyebrow. I wouldn't be talking no brows. Zabuza gets a tick mark while the others chuckle. Anyway, these guys left to right are Haku-chan, Fu-chan, Itachi-san and Zabuza-san. Gnome of this formal stuff, Gaki Zabuza says. Naruto chuckles. Anyway, you guys should follow Annabeth and Grover to Camp Half-Blood, while Andromeda and I go to Olympus. Oh, before I forget. Sally, don't worry about Gabe. He's petrified with fear, he says, grinning. Sally smiles and nods. You sure you'll be okay? I mean, the gods might kill you because they see you as a threat, Annabeth says, worried. Naruto smiles. I'll be fine, I already have 2 gods on my side if I need them. When he says that, it seems to calm her a little. Okay, well, me, Andromeda and Annabeth will escort Sally to her home, then she'll head back here, then you'll head to camp. Until then, be nice. Haku and Fu smile, of course, they say. 1 hour later. While Naruto and Andromeda ride the elevator up to Olympus, Naruto replays what's happened up until this point. They got Sally to her and Andromeda's apartment, no problems. While they were in the elevator exiting the building, Annabeth confessed her feelings to him. She then kissed him on the lips. He smiled at that memory. After that, he and Andromeda took a cab to the Empire State Building. They then asked for an audience for Zeus. At first the guy refused. He then saw why they were here. He quickly gave them the key and here they are. Couldn't get better music? Andromeda asked the elevator. Naruto smiles. I don't know. I kinda like it. Andromeda looks at him. She's about to say something, but then the doors open. We'll talk about this later, she says. Naruto smiles. He then looks towards the doors of the elevator. What he says is the second most amazing view he's ever seen. It's as if they took the top of Mount Olympus, buildings and all, and suspended it in the air above Manhattan. Wow, he says. He then looks to his right and sees Andromeda is still trying to comprehend what she sees. He smiles. It's there, Andra-chan. Just enjoy the view. She breaks out of her gaze and smiles. They then walk towards the main building. They can't help but notice that for a place that has an impending war, it's very peaceful. They eventually make it to the building. They see 2 figures skating in thrones. One is wearing an Hawaiian shirt and shorts he sells of the sea. Vizidi Naruto then look to his left and sees a man in a tux and tie that smells of ozone. So you're going to see my dad, Thalius says. You know, if you want to see him I can give you access to my senses so you can see him, he thinks back. He gets a mental image of her smiled like that. Greetings, Lord Zeus, Lord Poseidon, he says, giving a bow to each respective god. Zeus grunts, a demigod that knows respect. That's rare to come by. Poseidon nods. Yes, but we have more important matters to discuss. Yes. Do you have my bolt? Zeus asks. They nod and take out his bolt. They then hand him the container and he takes it. When he does, thunder goes off around him. Show off, Thalius says. Naruto smiles. Now tell me why I shouldn't incinerate you for stealing it. But Lord Zeus, we didn't, Andromeda says. She then goes into detail about the quest and Naruto helping with the things she forgot. When they are done, Zeus looks at them. I sense no lie in their story, but there is still the problem with you, boy. He looks at Naruto. Naruto shrugs. What can I say? I live a very interesting life. First part not that good. That's why I left. Why would I want to destroy my new home? One that gave me something I never had as a kid. Zeus raises an eyebrow. What would that be? He asks. Naruto smiles sadly. Love. The throne room gets quiet when they hear that. You see, I was hated for something that was out of my control. Because of that I was shunned along with other things. Even if I did find love, my village wouldn't let me be with them. After a few minutes, Poseidon speaks up. Zeus, perhaps we should give him a chance. After all, with our impending problem he could be useful. Zeus thinks for a second. I will give him a chance. Now I must leave and wash my bowl to cleanse it of the human filth. He then disappears in a flash of lightning. Poseidon chuckles. Your uncle has a flair for dramatic exits. Should have been god of theatrics if you ask me, Poseidon says. Naruto and Andromeda chuckle. My exits are better, Naruto says. Poseidon raises an eyebrow. You sure? Naruto grins. Well, why don't you see? I have a feeling you want to talk to Andra-chan, so I'll wait outside. He turns around, bows towards the hearth. He then turns towards the door and runs. Halfway there he disappears in a swirl of water and lightning. Poseidon looks on in disbelief. While Andromeda looks on with a smile and shakes her head. After a minute, Poseidon starts the conversation. So what's this about a boyfriend? He asks, earning a blush from her. Along the path to Olympus. Naruto is currently talking to some of the minor gods and goddesses about there, and he's ventures. Right now he's talking to Hecate and Hypnos. They are actually some pretty cool people once you get to know them. Sounds like you have quite the life, Naruto, Hypnos says. Naruto smiles. What can I say? I'm unpredictable. They nod, then Hypnos grins. So you have yourself a harem, I've heard. How's that going? Naruto frowns. I don't like the word harem. I prefer extended family. And I'd say as long as they're happy, I'm happy. They nod, understanding his ideas. They then look behind him and see someone. I think there's someone behind you, Hecate says. He turns around and smiles at the figure. Hi, Lady Hestia. She smiles at him. Good to see you, Naruto. I see you have met Hypnos and Hecate. He smiles. Yeah, they are some pretty cool people if you ask me. They smile at him. So what are you doing here? Hestia asks. Well, I decided while I wait for Andromeda to finish talking to her dad. I want to meet some of the other gods and goddesses that live here on Olympus, Naruto says. Why not just call us minor gods like everyone else? Hypnos asks. Naruto smiles. Well, besides your family? Well, all gods and goddesses are important in some way, shape or form. I think of it as a machine. You have these main parts, but you have the parts that only the ones that pay attention notice. The parts that keep the machine together. You guys are those parts. In retrospect, you guys keep the world together. Just not that many people know that. Hestia, Hecate and Hypnos are shocked. Someone believes they are important. And not just that. He thinks they are the true beings that keep the world together. That's quite the philosophy, Naruto, Hypnos says. Naruto smiles. I'm glad you think so. He then looks behind him and sees Andromeda is done talking to her dad. Well, I hate for this to end, but I don't want to keep my friend waiting. Until we meet again, Naruto says before he takes a bow. The two goddesses and one god look at his retreating form. I never thought it would be possible for a demigod to think that way. Especially that deep about it. If anyone can change how people think, it will be him, Hypnos says. Hestia smiles. He's one in an eternity, isn't he? She says a little dreamily. But they pick up on it. They grin. You like him, don't you? Hecate says. Hestia blushes and looks away. Hypnos grins. I never thought I'd see the day Hestia likes someone. But Andromeda and Naruto. So what did you do while you waited for me? Andromeda asked. Naruto smiled. I just talked to other gods like Hypnos and Hecate. They're actually pretty cool when you get to know them. Well, you do make friends rather quickly, but I can tell they're nice if they're your friends. Naruto smiles, so ready to get back to camp. Andromeda nods with a smile. With that they disappear in a swirl of sand. Annabeth dragged Andromeda and Naruto to the beach for 4th of July. Apparently the Hephaest's cabin did a fireworks show. Now they wouldn't settle for your lame red, white and blue fireworks. No, according to Annabeth, they were timed so closely it seemed like they were animations across the sky. They just got done laying down their blanket when Grover walked up to them. Well, I'm off, he says. Naruto smiles. Seems so. Don't forget to bring back some souvenirs, man. Grover grins while Annabeth makes sure he has everything. Geez, Annabeth. You're like an old mama goat, he says as a joke. Naruto and Andromeda chuckle. Well, man, take care. Don't be getting sidetracked by some awesome enchilada stand, Naruto says. Grover's cheeks have a slight pink glow, but he grins. He turns and walks away into the forest, into the seeming endless possibilities. He'll be back, you know, Annabeth says. Naruto smiles. Well, of course. I have complete faith that he'll complete his goal. Just then the fireworks overhead explode to life, showering the sky in endless color. Mid-August. Naruto right now is just walking through camp thinking on the events of what happened since he joined this world. He got a girlfriend or two. Stopped a civil war. Saved two of his siblings. Made a deal with Hades in actual Hades. Retrieved the Master Bolt. And finally made some friends out of the other gods and goddesses on Olympus. All in all a successful year. He is walking back towards his cabin when an idea hits him. He smiles at it. He then walks towards the Athena cabin to pull a few favors. After that he goes back to his cabin and gets things ready for his project. Day before the end of summer session. Naruto just got done training at the arena and is currently heading back to his cabin. When he gets to his bunk he sees two letters. He picks up the first one. Dear Naruto Uzumaki. If you intend to stay year-round at Camp Half-Blood, then you'll have to inform Chiron or myself of this. If you choose not to, all personal items will be incinerated in the lava pit. And any unauthorized campers will be eaten by the harpies. With best regards. Dionysus, Olympian seat number 12. Naruto looks at the letter for a second. He then sets it down and picks up the next. Dear Naruto. I know I haven't really been able to raise you or get to know you. But I'd like to take you on a training trip for this school year. If you choose to accept, then meet at Thalia's pine tree in 10 minutes. With love. Chaos. Naruto sits down on his bed. He has a choose. Does he stay at camp, go to school with his girlfriend or train with his mother? He knows his siblings and girlfriends in his cabin are going to sightsee and not be back until at least next summer break. Besides, there is another option and that seems the most productive. He decided. He'll go on the training trip and send a blood clone around to travel around the country saving demigods and sightseeing. He doesn't send one with Andromeda because he doesn't want to danger her with his scent. Naruto heads to the big house to tell Chiron his decision and he bumps into both Annabeth and Andromeda. Oh hi, I didn't see you guys there, Naruto says. It's fine, Annabeth says. So what have you guys decided? He asks. I've decided to give my family another chance and live with them this year, Annabeth says with a small smile. Naruto smiles, that's great. My mother offered me a training trip, so I've decided to take her up on that offer. They smile. My mom said that a school will let me in if I decide to live with her. So I'm going to try. Plus I don't see a point staying if all my friends are leaving. Well, I have to meet my mom up at Thalia's tree in 2 minutes, so I better hurry. See you guys next summer. After they each give him a kiss he heads towards the big house alone. Hey Chiron. My mother offered me a training trip. So I guess I won't be seeing you on roll next summer, he says sadly. Chiron smiles, if I was in your place I'd do the same. Naruto smiles back, thanks, well I'll see you later. And try not to beat Dionysus too badly at Pinocchio while I'm gone. Chiron chuckles. As he leaves the big house and towards the tree he sees a figure by it and he can see it's a female wearing all black and she has the Rinnegan eyes like Naruto. He can instantly tell it's his mother. He smiles when he approaches her. Seeing she also has a smile. When he gets close enough he hugs her. Well, shall the training begin? His mother asks. He grins, well of course. Where will we be going? He asks. Chaos smiles, we're going to my personal pocket dimension. And I have a surprise for you when we get there. He smiles and nods. They then disappear in a void. When he regains his bearings he sees he's in a field right next to a forest and ocean. When he turns behind him he sees someone he doesn't expect to see. He sees Thalia. Thalia? He asks, surprised. Naruto. How in Hades did I get here? She asks. Oh. I guess this is the surprise. Guess you're my training partner, he says. Thalia blinks then says, well, it's better than a tree. Well, I hope you're ready for this because this is going to be hell, they hear his mother say behind them. They turn around to see she has a sadistic grin on her face. They gulp, preparing for their hellish training to begin. End chapter. So this part ends here. If you want to see next part of this series, like the video now and share the story with your friends. Bye bye.